Welcome to the podcast where we discuss the ups and downs of starting a new business in later life. Today, Kevin and I discuss that AI is no barrier to anyone, any age, any business. AI is not going away. AI is not going to replace humans, but it will replace businesses that don't embrace it. Enjoy today's episode with Kevin Cope. So, welcome to the studio, Kevin.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
At 67, you practically reinvented yourself as an AI expert to coaching business to coach them in property. And you also strongly believe that AI is not optional anymore. Now, I know statistically from at least my guests' statistics that people find technology the hardest thing when they are setting up or running a new business, especially later in life. So do you think it's the next industrial revolution?
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. So if you think about GPT, what that actually stands for, General Transformation Protocol. So what that is, it's the biggest transformation that affects people, affects social well-being, affects business. And there's only actually been 8 in the whole lifetime of human beings.
8
GPTs. So the very first one was like fire. So when fire happened, that changed how we eat. We could make tools, all those things that changed. And then the next one, I'm not going to go through them all.
Well,
the next one
briefly you can.
was the wheel, but it wasn't just the wheel; it was the axle, which then changed how we transform things. Yeah, coming right the way through to computers, PCs. When Bill Gates said everyone will have a PC on their desk, we all thought, really? To the internet.
At the time, the World Wide Web wasn't even really existing.
No, and there was companies then. So Marks and Spencer's famously said, we don't need to go online. None of our customers will ever shop online. So they were left behind. Yeah. Travel agents as well, particularly. No, people will always want to come into the shop and book their holiday and talk to someone.
And there are still people like that.
There are.
And I suppose we can look at it as old school now. And people do want their personal service.
Yep.
But the vast majority of us now just quickly go online.
It won't kill those things. It just changes everything.
So what are the first signs, in your opinion, where businesses will be left behind if they don't use AI?
There's many examples, and I think you have to look at your business and see where the bottlenecks are, the things that you're struggling with, the things that could be automated, and then also the things that AI is probably going to change in your business or change how you operate. So SEO is a really good example. You may have noticed that Google now, when you go into Google, you don't get all the blue links and the click on this, click on that to take you to the websites. It now explains everything, answers the question for you within Google. So instead of Google passing you out to your website, it's now keeping you there.
Through their own AI support assistant.
Absolutely. So your SEO is not working as well. So now you need to educate AI about your business. Not your blue links. So if your SEO provider is not looking at that and is not changing things for you, that's a real big sign.
That your business is going to be left behind.
Yeah, because people are not going to find you.
If you are a solopreneur, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with maximizing or optimizing your SEO?
I mean, it's a whole separate podcast on how to do that. But simply, you need to build trust. You need to build trust in your brand because there's so much out there now. Is it real? Is it fake? It's all about trust. Even more, it's always been about trust, but it's much more about trust now than it's ever been.
That then really comes back to the person, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like how you project yourself to the world, to your immediate network and further afield. I'm still kind of operating on my own. How do I become an expert in building the right SEO into kind of the back office, so to speak, of my website, for example?
So you need to find people that are going to do that for you because you're never going to become an expert. And that's not your core business. So you shouldn't be focusing on things that are not your core business.
I suppose this is what you refer to as if there is a bottleneck. And if that is my bottleneck, let's say, or somebody else's, then find an expert to help out with that. Now, because you want to optimize your SEO for AI, can you actually get AI to support you with that?
Yeah, of course you can. The thing to think of it as, we'll take ChatGPT as an example.
Yeah.
Don't think of it as a technology. Think of it as the super, super intelligent intern that you've got in your business.
Okay.
That's there, sitting by your side, that is just never going to go sick. It's never going to question you. It's never going to get a huff when you tell it it's wrong and do correct it. But what you do need to do, rather than just say something like, go and write me a post about XYZ, you need to educate it first. So think about your intern. You wouldn't just give them something and go off and do this project. You'd brief them on it first. You'd educate them on it. Ask it a question. So tell me the 20 things you need to know about my business for you to be able to promote or create podcasts, content, whatever it might be.
Yeah, because you could be in any industry whatsoever.
Yeah, so it comes back with all the answers, all the questions.
The questions, yeah.
You then upload all those answers, and then you've educated it and what you want it to talk about.
I must admit, this is something I have done on a number of occasions, especially when I started using it a bit more sort of daily basis. And what I personally found, and would very, very highly recommend to anyone to follow this bit of advice from you, is, do ask the questions. What do you need to know about me in order to answer the core question? And it did come up with questions that I didn't even think about, but what it did do was made me think and dig really deep.
Mm-hmm.
And if I got stuck a little bit, then I had to sort of stop and think and take the time to think. And over time, I genuinely feel that it's sort of really helping me shape my own business in my own head.
And if you don't like the answer or you don't quite understand the answer, ask it. Where did you find that from? Or what have you based that upon?
Oh, yeah, that's something like I was doing research for a bit of training material, and he gave me links, and then the links didn't work. So I asked for referenced bits of statistics, and then, of course, it apologizes. That's so weird that it's kind of trained to please, but still, I think that's a very important thing to highlight.
I'll give you a really good example of that. So I was talking to a mortgage broker a few days ago. And no, it will never take our business. It will never affect our business, because someone came to me the other day and told me there was this deal and that's what they wanted me to get from ChatGPT. And the mortgage broker couldn't find this deal anywhere. The whole of market broker, they were looking, they were searching, but it became personal.
Oh my, okay.
So they eventually found it.
Oh, wow.
And they found it was a deal for HMOs, and it was about 2013, this deal was. And it was now obviously obsolete.
Yes, I mean, 2013, 12 years ago, that's too long a time.
That's not an AI problem. That's the person not asking the right question.
Or the wrong question, as the case may be.
So they didn't ask, find me a current deal. They just said, find me a deal on HMOs. Well, it was a deal on HMOs, but it's not true. But it's not current. So if they'd have just asked that extra question, it would never have picked up on that.
Interesting.
So it's very much about the questions you're asking. It's based upon the quality of the answers that you get.
Do you want results quicker and prefer a private deep dive? Alongside my group programs, I offer one-to-one mentoring. To find out how to work with me personally, please use the link in the show notes. Is it a myth that AI will replace people?
It won't replace people. It will replace businesses that don't use it.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
You're still going to need people. We're still going to be humans creating things. We invented AI after all. We've invented all the other GPTs in the past. So we're still going to be around, but it's going to change the sort of things we do. So if you think about, driverless cars, we're still going to be in cars moving around, but our role in that car is going to change.
Okay.
You think of warehouses. We used to have lots of people in warehouses moving stuff around and delivering stuff. Now that's all automated. You go back even further to the factories, car factories. We used to have people, sewing things and welding things and all that, where it's all done by robots. So things will continue to change and evolve, but we'll still need humans around too.
I didn't think of that. That in factories, that's probably decades and decades ago when, so to speak, machines started to take over assembling cars and probably many other machinery. It's just now the new fad, isn't it, that we're sort of blaming all sorts of things on, I suppose.
If you look at, when the internet first came along, there's good and bad on the internet. It's just human nature. There's good and bad in human nature, and it just amplifies that. You go back through all the technologies, there's always been resistance. When electricity was first invented, you can't imagine a life without electricity, but the people were against it
not,
because it was dangerous and it could kill you.
But so could fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I suppose it's just
so there's
getting used
always
to it.
been massive resistance, and it's about understanding how it will affect your business and how you can use it in your business to your advantage, and stop thinking about it as a technology, thinking about it as a friend and something that you can use.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, like, where do you think people go wrong with AI?
By thinking it's technology and getting all hung up about this new, fancy thing that I need to understand it. You don't need to understand it.
Do you think that we need to use AI to think for us or think instead of us or with us?
No, and that's a big danger, that we stop thinking and we just allow, particularly ChatGPT and products like that, to just come up with the answer all the time. We still need to think, but it improves our quality of thinking. It raises our level of thinking.
On that note, I read it was like a summary of some recent studies, obviously on the back of now AI becoming so mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
If you use AI to, let's say, write an essay, you kind of become so dumb that you can't even quote a sentence from it an hour later. How do we combat that? What is it that we should and shouldn't do when using AI, when producing a report or training materials or anything?
Well, it's still about you. You've still got to remember it's about you. And it comes back to trust again. It's about, thinking, what do you actually want AI to do? What questions are you asking it? What answers do you want from it? And how is that reflecting you and your brand?
Okay.
So we could sit here now and write a whole article right now, but it wouldn't reflect either of our brands if we hadn't educated it and thought about what we're trying to do. So we've still got to think. And the people that don't think, that just go in, and you'll see it. You can see it now on the web. You can see it with content. You think that's been written by AI.
That's really interesting, because I've had arguments, but kind of like I would pick out, like, come on, what's this email about? It's obviously written by AI, and then the other person would deny it. But then again, that could just be human nature. But sometimes it feels like it literally screams AI, and then people say, well, it wasn't written by AI. At what point do we become completely oblivious to?
It comes back to treating it like your intern. So back in the day, your managing director would sit in his office and he would talk into his dictaphone and pass it over to his PA to write the letter, saying, going back that far. So the managing director didn't compose that letter.
The managing director would just give the
ideas, the point and everything else, and then it was wordsmithed by the PA, the secretary, whatever. It's kind of no different. You're giving, say, ChatGPT the information, and then you're passing it over to your super intelligent intern to do something with it, to polish it, to make it, more professional, to more funny or more like your style, because ChatGPT does learn your style.
I must admit, I personally find that a little difficult, because sometimes it's like, I can ask it a question and it comes up with an answer. It's like, I could not have said it any better than that. And then other times I say, can you come up with some suggestions, but don't rewrite what I wrote. And maybe because I'm not letting it, but I really don't like the way it gets rewritten.
So
I get really annoyed.
So get into a conversation. And this is where it gets a bit spooky, because you're actually talking to a computer. I know the first time I did that.
My husband laughs when I say I just had a conversation with ChatGPT.
It's like, but that's how to get the best out of it. Because again, think about your super intelligent intern. You'd have a conversation with them, and you would explain that article you've just written for me is not quite what I wanted. Yeah. Can you just change it to this, change it to that? So go back to ChatGPT and say, no, actually, I don't like that. That's not in the style that I wanted. Can you put it in this style? Or no, you've got that completely wrong. And as you say, it'll apologise and go away and do it again. It's just the same as if you've ever used anybody else to write anything for you. If you're using a copywriter.
It's really interesting you pointing these things out, because I think we get so completely wrapped up in the fact that it's a machine, it's a supercomputer, it's whatever. And I think the danger that's coming is that it's creating stuff and that's just become part of the database. And at what point are we going to just end up with this incredible amount of fake data that AI is using?
There's always going to be negatives. There's negatives with the internet. There's negatives with when we invented the car, with all the pollution and everything. But I think the thing is to focus on the positives and what's that going to do for your business. We can't change the world. We can't change or control AI ourselves as individuals. That's up to powers much above our pay grade. What we can do is use it as an advantage for our business if we're smart. And they're the people, the early adopters, the people that will win, as they always have done in technology.
How do you find in your coaching business, do you coach a variety of people in various ages?
Yeah.
Do you find that young people take to AI easier or quicker than the older generation?
Surprisingly, not always, no.
Or do people, especially in the older generation, have this sort of belief that AI is for like techie people or young people?
I think it's more about a mindset. I guess from my perspective, I've been lucky that I've always worked for leading edge technology companies.
Okay.
So going right back to the times of datacomms. Imagine a time when computers didn't talk to each other. It existed.
Can't really, yeah.
No,
oh my goodness.
I'm that old.
But they were just electronic typewriters, really.
Yeah. I worked for the mobile phone Motorola when we invented the first portable phone that you could actually carry around, which was sort of this size.
Well, the first ones were carried in a bit of a suitcase kind of
Well,
thing,
or
a briefcase.
It was a brick, and you plugged it into your car or you took it out of your car. Yeah, so we manufactured those, so I was working for that. And then went on to video conferencing when these 29-inch televisions to actually be able to talk to people at the other end. So when Zoom came along in lockdown and that, it was just, this is just normal. Why are people having a problem with it?
I tell you what, this background that you're just talking us through explains that when I talked to you about AI last summer, and you were literally like a dog with a bone, like this puppy with a wagging tail, like, oh, AI is the best thing since sliced bread.
But what I'm really passionate about, though, is actually solving problems with technology.
Okay.
I really can't abide technology that's just looking for a problem. And there's so much of that around. Yeah. But what is it actually doing? What is it actually solving? So when we saw everybody was making images of themselves in these like squeegee dolls or whatever they were, it's like, that's great, but what's it doing? What problem is it solving? It's not. Think about your business. Think about where the blockages are or where you need help. And is there an AI solution to that out there?
Were you inspired by this conversation? Well, imagine applying these ideas directly in your own life. That's what we do in the 6-week program. There are practical routines that power results. Please find out more in the show notes. Maybe because I'm in business, I was looking at that sort of thing as part of a bit of a branding exercise. I suppose the vast majority of people were just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
But talking about branding, even small businesses can use it and large businesses can use it, but small businesses specifically can deliver some big brand experiences. How can we use AI to do that?
Well, again, it comes back, I think, sounding a bit like a cracked record, or is it a cracked CD now? Or
Delete as appropriate on your age.
It's about looking at what's stopping you behaving like a big business.
Right, okay.
Do you, is it resources? People. So if you need more people in your business, well, perhaps AI can solve that for you. So with all the different solutions that are out there, again, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? What is it that's holding you back? What do you need to be able to do? And where is that solution out there that you can do that? Because most of them are really cheap. Most of them you can have as trials. They don't cost you anything to run for a month. So you can try it, see if it works. You're not looking like in the olden days, a massive software implementation or a big CRM type system that you've got to implement that's going to take you months to do and then probably not be what you wanted at the end of it. You can literally just try it. And that's the thing, just use it, try it. You're not going to break anything. So
would it be more important to carry on training ourselves or start training our AI assistant?
I think both. You've got to train yourself to be able to train your AI assistant. And that's the thing. You can't stop thinking. And that's
we can't remove ourselves as the human.
If you just suddenly say, right, I don't need to think about anything anymore. Everything I'm going to put into ChatGPT and it's going to give me the answer and I'm going to believe it. Then
we're going to end up at that point of completely dumbing ourselves of any kind of knowledge.
Yeah, and that is a dangerous route. Yeah, so you've still got to retain that brain power.
I think that in itself is quite a myth buster, isn't it? That AI is not going to replace people.
No.
It's going to replace businesses that don't embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that people go wrong when they think that AI can think for them?
Most definitely. Yeah. I mean, AI is really good at processing data.
Right.
And it can process data much better than humans. That's why some of the scientific and medical breakthroughs that are happening by using AI are happening so much faster now.
As a human, try and analyze a spreadsheet, and you struggle, and then you put it through AI, and it will do the data analysis for you straight away. How much can you trust it, though, that it's done it properly?
So I'll give you an example of that, actually. That's really good. So I had a spreadsheet that I needed to upload into a little app that I've just built, but the spreadsheet and the column had got dates.
Right.
But someone had put a word against the date, so like expired and then the date in the same column. You couldn't read it as a date in the spreadsheet. So I know there's a way of actually taking that word out and putting it in a separate column and making that a date. Now, I could have spent an hour reminding myself, checking through Excel and trying to work out how to do that. And I thought, no, there's a smarter way. So upload the spreadsheet to ChatGPT. Can you please, on column 6 or column C,
whatever it was,
take out the word expired and put it in a separate column and just leave the column as a date. Crash, done.
Done, literally in seconds.
In seconds.
I tell you what, sometimes, especially with tasks like that, I find that amazing how quickly it can come up with answers that is just mind-boggling.
So I know that Excel can do that. I don't know how to do it because it's one of those things you use once every 2 or 3 years.
If that, yeah.
If that. So,
I mean, and that you know that only when you've done advanced Excel training and you are actually aware that it is possible to do something like that in Excel.
So if you haven't had that advanced training and you've got a problem there with a spreadsheet, just ask ChatGPT what the question is. What problem have you got with that spreadsheet? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do with that data? Well, you
literally feed the spreadsheet in and ask it, can you see a problem in this database? Yeah. But do you think that it would pick up that particular problem in that column?
So let me give you an example then. So we, as property investors, we have a deal analyzer spreadsheet.
Right.
Everybody has to have one of those, and they're all pretty unique. So I can upload that deal spreadsheet to ChatGPT and say, do you think this is a deal? What's it basing it upon? It's like going into a room of 20 property investors and saying, is this a deal? Well, you're going to get 10 different answers, aren't you? Because it depends on what your criteria is. So when you load up the spreadsheet to ChatGPT, you also put in what your criteria is. How much profit you need to make on a room, what's the ROI, what money do you want to invest? Yeah. The whole criteria, then it can work it out for you.
Going back to what we said at the beginning, that the answer will entirely depend on the quality of the question that you put into it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what do you use it for, isn't it?
Yeah.
But do you think that people use AI to avoid thinking?
Yes, and that's a danger because you can't, because you don't know whether the answer's correct or not. So you've got to have an idea of how it come to that, or know what questions to ask.
That's interesting because in the past we would use Google to give us all sorts of answers, but now Google, as we already mentioned, is pretty much based on AI answering as well. So when ChatGPT gives you an answer, where do you go to reference it? Because I feel that I can't go to Google to reference it anymore.
You go to Chat and say, where did you get that from? What do you think that? Where did you get that answer from?
And I suppose, a lot of the time, the answers come up with a link, and then you click on the link, and if the link doesn't work, then you can sort of dig a bit deeper.
Or it's a date like the mortgage example. It's something years ago which is not relevant anymore. Another example of that, when a friend of mine was asking what was the best way of selling an HMO, property in multiple occupation.
Yeah.
Now, what they were looking for was they had a property which they wanted to sell. ChatGPT interpreted that as how you wanted to market the rooms within that property to sell.
So it misinterpreted the question because it wasn't made clear.
So it goes off on a track. We said, well, no, stop. No, that's wrong. That's not what we were asking. And yes, it apologised. Sorry, I misunderstood. And then went off on the right track. So you've still got to think. You've still got to have an understanding of what the answer might be. in a broad context to know whether it's right or wrong, to know whether to ask that secondary question.
But do you think that people's greatest barrier then is in order to use AI effectively?
Themselves.
That is so funny, because we are afraid of AI replacing us, and yet every time there is something, it's always a human error. And even as we just discussed, using ChatGPT or any AI software is still down to human error if you don't ask the right questions.
Yeah. You still need to be able to think, and it's mindset. So it's this new toy, if you like, new technology. How can we use it? Don't be frightened of it.
I was just going to say, do you think people don't have the confidence in it?
They don't have the confidence. There will be people out there that think it's going to go away. There will be people that think it's not going to affect my business. Website designers. Hey, you can design a website and have it published in 10 minutes now. But the website designers will argue, yes, but it's not this, it's not that.
And it is true that it's not this and not that. It's not going to be all singing and dancing
today. So AI is only going to get better. It's as bad as it's ever going to be today.
Well, I think that's now kind of getting to the point of arguable. As I mentioned earlier, that the AI is kind of generating stuff that is not necessarily real. At what point will we be littered with data that is not correct, and then AI is using it as real?
But that's focusing on the negative aspect of AI. And that then comes back to where we started about trust.
Well, it's not necessarily focusing, but these sort of things need to be discussed and understood. To make sure that we don't fall down traps using false data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like somebody was telling me that like a court case was won on AI-generated information that was not even real. And nobody realized it, not even the judges.
There's some big challenges coming up for us. Some big challenges. I think the big difference with this technology to other technological revolutions is it's moving so fast. So in the olden days, it took time for humans to actually develop and work it out and everything else. But if you just think back to driverless cars, they have been around for years now. The only thing that's stopping them is humans and the whole legal system. So if you had an accident in a driverless car, whose fault is it? Is it you as the driver, or is it the software company? Is it the car manufacturer? The whole legal framework needs to change?
Yes, I mean that is,
and it hasn't. So it's kind of stopping it. So that's the interesting thing, is where will technology, force these things, or where will it get stifled because of it? Because you won't stop it. You can't stop it. The genie's out of the bottle.
I've seen entrepreneurs reclaim hours of wasted time, double their energy, and finally enjoy the business they've built. You can do the same. Look in the show notes to find out how to join us. So let's have a little discussion about affordability, because there's so many different AI provisions out there. They'll probably be, oh my God, does it run into the hundreds now? I mean,
probably there are more than that.
Gosh, I mean, we are aware of the most sort of mainstream ones, but they're just like, even for like the ordinary user, if I can say that, like the ordinary person. But then I suppose some huge companies might actually have access to others. But let's stick with ourselves, the solopreneurs, later life entrepreneurs, small business owners. What are kind of the most common AI provisions that we can use?
So again, it comes back to what is the problem you're trying to solve. Right, so it's a bit like if you think about when CRMs were all the rage. Everybody had their favourite CRM and would promote that, but it wasn't right for every single business. You had to understand the requirements of your business to find the right solution. So you need to go back and look at what is the problem that's stopping you, holding you back, stopping you scale, whatever it might be, and then what is the best solution for you.
Find the suitable AI provision, because obviously we've now mentioned, I need to get in touch with ChatGPT for sponsorship now.
Yeah.
We've been mentioning ChatGPT throughout this entire episode,
Yeah.
But are they the best known or the most known?
Google have got their own, and Microsoft have got their own, and,
exactly.
and again, it's a personal preference. There's Claude, there's lots of out there, and it's a personal preference. But if you start with chat, you use it, you talk to it, you educate it, that's a pretty good start, really. But do go for the paid version, which is only something like, I think it's about
£20 a month.
£20 a month, which is, if your business can't afford that, you really should be questioning whether you're in business or not.
Fair enough. I was going to ask I was going to lead on to the cost of it. So in your experience, do you find your clients think that it's expensive and they don't want to pay for it?
£20 for what you get is pretty phenomenal. So, and use that as the basis for your knowledge. So literally ask it questions, talk to it. Anything you've got. A friend of mine the other day was trying to plan their weekend away. Ask ChatGPT, we're going to the Lake District, what are the best things we need to see and what can we do? And it's a whole itinerary comes out.
I must admit, I sort of dabbled into Sintra AI, which is like 12 little helpers.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I kind of stopped using it for a while because I found out that they didn't talk to each other at the time. This is a few months ago now. And then somebody recently told me that they fixed that.
Yeah.
I mean, I did provide feedback on it, and I wondered if others did too, but they clearly listened one way or another. So I need to go back and find out. But once I did do that, like run an itinerary or said that, we're going away, and I was really surprised quite how good the quality was. And the bits that were unnecessary were exactly the bits that I didn't specify myself to say that we already had accommodation. I just asked, what shall we do in this particular area? And he gave me this amazing itinerary.
Yeah.
And we ended up going to see a couple of places based on those recommendations that didn't necessarily come up on Google Maps. So when you tap into that kind of database, it really opens your eyes.
Yeah, and just because it doesn't do something now, don't throw it away. Because, like you just said, in a couple of months' time, it will do it. Maybe quicker.
Yeah, the developers will.
Yeah, because it is only as bad as it's ever going to be right now. It's only going to get better. So what it can't do today, it will be able to do tomorrow.
In preparation for the interview, you quoted Jim Rohn, who I also listen to periodically, that all change is opportunity mixed with difficulty. How can we reflect that onto using AI in our businesses?
Yeah, so it's as difficult as you want to make it. It's about the thinking. So thinking about your business, really spending time, and I know people don't do enough of that, just spending some quiet time thinking about your business. What are your problems? What are holding you back? Why did you start the business in the first place? What are you trying to achieve? And are you actually getting to that point? Or are you just like stuck in the weeds of the day-to-day stuff? And then if you are, well, what can you do to actually change that? Or do you just want to carry on like that? Do you really want to change
wading through treacle, or feeling like wading through treacle, or actually utilize technology?
Yeah.
Mind you say, let's go back to that a little bit, actually, because I kind of considered AI to be technology. Why? You said earlier that it's not technology.
It is technology, but don't think of it like that. That's a mindset thing again. That will just block your brain to think, no, it's this technical thing. I can't use it. I can't, if you can talk to it, if you can talk to a human, you can talk to ChatGPT.
Okay.
And just and don't think of it as a piece of technology. Think about it as your super intelligent intern. So you've got this person now working for you for free.
About £20 a month.
Yeah. It's going
Which
to be
is
there.
considerably more affordable.
Yeah. 24/7. Never go sick. Never take holidays. Never complain. Answer all your questions. You can be as critical as you like. And
it doesn't take it
always,
personally.
But do be polite. I think it's a really good idea to always say please and thank you.
Funny
because
enough,
when the robots do take over, they will remember the people that have been kind to it and the ones that haven't.
Oh, that's an interesting argument, because in a previous episode of mine with Alia Musa, we discussed using ChatGPT, and she's very much for AI use in your business. But she sort of highlighted, because she's done some research into what it costs us as humans, the humanity and Earth, because there's a humongous amount of electricity and water beyond what we can even imagine used to produce these responses in a matter of seconds. And she said that just simple saying thank you and saying please in a conversation, let's say you say it like 10 times each or whatever, and you add it up across the whole world, the resources needed to use that, and also then for ChatGPT to come back with a, yeah, that's okay, no worries, or whatever kind of meaningless little response at the end is humongous, and we just need to be aware of those resources. So is it a waste then to say please and thank you? And even like when a task is returned and you say, oh, thank you for that, and then ChatGPT will always come back with a little pleasantry. But even that costs so much resource.
I think the bigger issue is how we actually solve that whole problem with renewable energy and things like that. That's the way we're going to solve it.
Okay.
So we're not going to stop the technology. If you think before we had motor cars, we didn't need to get petrol and diesel and oil out of the ground.
True.
We didn't need to build oil rigs. We didn't, before we put all this heating into our homes with gas, we didn't need to get all the gas out of the grounds. There's always been a cost to the planet, and it's how do we minimise that, and how do we then turn that around and start using these things to come up with solutions that can prevent us destroying the planet.
So is that the new opportunity that we are kind of coming up with here?
There's always opportunities out there, yeah.
So you see AI as a collaboration with humanity rather than a replacement for people, even though we sort of said that technically technology has indeed replaced people in various industries. So what happens to workforces?
Yeah, so a general purpose technology will always have these massive changes, always has done. Going back to the 8 previously, people have been put out of work and all that kind of thing, and that's something that governments need to be working on and thinking about. If you think about warehouses that we mentioned earlier, used to be full of people. They're full of robots now.
The first thing that comes to my mind anyway is, what do those people do now?
Yeah. And then the further impact of that, if you think going back to our property background, if you've got HMOs around close by warehouses and call centres, which was always a great source of people, suddenly those people are not there anymore. How's that going to affect your properties? And are those properties in the right place? Are they at risk by the technological changes?
Then you as a landlord need to think creatively what you do with the properties.
There'll be a change. There is a change. Delivery drivers, you won't need delivery drivers because your lorries are driven automatically, like driverless. And then the little drone comes out and delivers the package to your door. So, and all these things,
all these futuristic things. Kind of, I'm sitting here giggling, but still, you look at some films that were so futuristic a couple of decades ago, and they've all come true.
Yeah.
But are we sort of falling into another new age trap that we've done with money, where we kind of love money and use people rather than use money and love people? What if we're doing the same with AI, so that technology should be serving us rather than feeding AI with all sorts of
it's up to
things.
Humans' choices, really. I mean, we could all become like cats. In the end of the day, we just sit there, we get fed by the robots and get our bellies tickled and go out for a walk when we want, and they're our servants.
That's a metaphor I didn't expect.
Or, we can embrace it and use it and stay in control of it. It's kind of down to us.
Do you think AI will ever have a human touch?
Yes, I think it will.
Is that scary?
Yeah.
It is very scary, isn't it? Because at the moment, people still teach that, be yourself, because AI can't have emotions.
So voices are a thing that, it's always struggled with, generating voices.
Although that's come on leap and
and laughing was always difficult for it to generate a human laugh.
How's that going? Because I watched your Kevinai intro, and it is really scary. I mean, you can just about tell that it's AI. You could think it was a real video.
From that point of view, you mentioned Kevinai, so that's solving a problem of, as a coach, you've only got so many hours a day that you're available.
Yeah.
And some people would have a good idea and want to discuss it, say, at 7:00 on a Friday evening.
Yeah, when you want to be sitting down with a glass of wine
and your coach is not available.
Talk to your wife.
Kevinai is available.
Yeah.
So you can have your coach 24/7 there, integrate with him, talk to him. And there's also some people that are not really comfortable with opening up to another individual.
That's an interesting point, yeah.
But they need help, they need the coaching. well, they're much more comfortable talking to Kevinai. So it serves, it's not going to replace me as a human coach, but it does give me other avenues and other possibilities.
At the end of the day, AI will not replace us, but it is certainly an incredible bit of technology to use in our business to remove the bottlenecks and help us, even solopreneurs, to come up with big brand solutions and present ourselves that way.
Yep.
Kevin, thank you very much.
Summed that up really well. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to New Business in Later Life with me, Ildikó Sealey, where we say no to slowing down and yes to starting up. Loved what you've heard? Please share it, screenshot it, and tag me on socials. Let's show the world what thriving in later life really looks like and share with a friend who is ready for their next chapter. Please subscribe so you are always in the loop. And if you were ready to stop running on empty and start running on purpose, well, come join us. All the links are waiting in the show notes, including my guests' contacts, the Entrepreneurs Club, and the few tools and services I personally use in my business to help you thrive in yours. Until next time, refuel, refocus, and reinvent.